upgraded to 3-chip studio cameras. We've got lights. I mean, this room's got lights in it. We get criticized when it looks very amateurish to do this in a kitchen. They should look at the cyc wall when they play with that a little bigger. We've also been told, God, it looks like you people are in a cavern now. That's our future. Is that we're not going to change kitchen. There's a reason for the kitchen. And what is the reason for having this thing when we're doing a wrap-up?
You put things on the table on top.
Yeah, we put things on it because we've tried it on location and the stuff blows all over the place.
Yeah.
So we've decided we set upon this place right here. You can set everything down. She'll spend a half hour setting stuff up for her wrap-ups. And basically she goes around and do them. The wrap-ups are getting bigger and more. Okay, people get, they basically, here's a fun thing. A lot of the people that put on events hate the way we do our wrap-ups, and the people that...
Well, they either love them or they hate them.
Yeah, a lot of them. The people that hate them, vendors love them. Because our wrap-ups always do better than their interviews.
Well, because the wrap-up is me talking about the products extensively, but it's from what we remember. So part of it is you can do this interview and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm sitting there talking about an hour of what's going on in the vet and things that you discovered. I mean, think about how much information is actually covered.
Yeah, we have done,
and I'm not there with a script. It's the products are there, we're talking about them.
Because we're going to be CES is coming up in November. Well, actually, we first at the...
in January.
In January, November. SEMA is November. At SEMA, we're going to be there for probably, maybe 8-9 days this time instead of 6. Our wrap-ups are every night, and the wrap-ups can be an hour or longer every single night. That's on top of what we've done all day long. Because, people look forward to all of what we do. I mean, we got people at these things that look forward to us coming so that they can do it, so we can be included. They like the interviews, but they want the wrap-ups more than they do the interviews. And wrap-ups always get more.
Well, and we've heard a lot of feedback from the wrap-ups from people that said, yeah, I went to the show, that's a really good wrap-up, or I missed that, thanks for sharing.
Or they'll be critical. I mean, they'll say...
Or do you have some more on this stuff?
But what I love is, doesn't she understand that those people are gods? How can she...
Some of them really have some fan bases.
And then some of the other two, we got some of the things which we haven't done in a while. They got, the people that have said on our wrap-ups, God, you people are hotties. Hotties? They didn't think of themselves as hotties, but the people watching the wrap-ups think that. And they said another thing is that, well, you're too casual. I've been doing this stuff since 1948. I can guarantee you, it was just this casual in 1948. Betty White would come on a thing. She'd come on in a French maid outfit. I mean, I know once she didn't have any panties on, and they're basically, here's the guy that's doing, and she's Betty White's Betty White. Basically, Betty White when Betty White was 19, 20 years old was really naughty too then. She pushed the bubble. Johnny Carson pushed the bubble. They fired Howard Hessman for pushing the bubble.
Well, see, part of it is we're sharing with you. We're not filming a commercial for the other people.
I know.
There's a difference.
No, but
they don't have editorial rights.
We don't have editorial. We because of the internet, we're allowed to do things that the people on network or cable cannot do. They have news directors that say no, and they have people upstairs that say no. Well,
you might piss off our advertisers.
Yeah, piss off the advertisers. Well, they said, well, how do you advertise? I don't know. Could it be somebody gives us something that you got parked down in front of the thing? Somebody might say, oh, hey, how do you advertise? Well, people give us things. And, if they were to pay us to do it, product placement works. It's the only way. It's the same way. I come from the era, too, when product placement was how, television is never going to be able to make any money because we can't figure out how to charge for anything. Well, Kellogg started giving them money to put the Kellogg's in things. Cool Cigarettes gave them money to put the stuff in things. Ford Motor Company, you'd think that on Hawaii 5-0 they drove around in those Fords simply because they liked the Fords. It's because those Ford Fairlanes and the Chrysler and other things like Chrysler Imperials were all supplied by the company. They paid them to put
Just
those
think
things
of
on.
Matrix that Primos bought that Cadillac had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of why
or James Bond.
Yeah, why they got rid of the Aston Martin with Daniel Craig for the Ford Mustang.
I thought he used an Austin.
No, he got the first movie. He did. They took his Austin Healey away from him and gave him the Ford convertible.
What?
Yeah. He's back to the Austin because the people didn't like the Ford in the James Bond movies because
it does not kind of go.
I know, but they were trying something. But it's this thing, computers. You'll see, if you see a person using an Apple computer sitting on the news thing, that's because they're being paid to use the Apple computer. Or you see tablets.
Yeah, you see it on the news where you know, like, there's the Apple logo.
Yeah, but the same thing. It's just, it's how you survive. I mean, right now we are, okay, I also, like I told her, I was there, for instance, we were there a few years ago when Mr. Rohr over at the NAB drew his line in the sand. We are going to stop the internet one way or the other because they're stealing everybody's material. Yeah, because basically there's a thing called the Digital Millennium Act, which basically says that certain material can be lifted. If you don't copy, you have to put it up as a thing saying you may not use this material. And if you don't do it, then people just use it and you battle with them in court. And they always lose over the, I mean, the YouTube vanquished Viacom over the Digital Millennium Act, which they are allowed to put stuff up. And
so many bars of music?
There's so many bars of music. I mean, so the trick is, but we are continually evolving. And we are evolving because we learned our lesson in Hurricane Katrina by all the disasters. We're talking every news agency in the business was having problems but us. Everyone. Because we would go places and they wondered, well, how did you get that information? Well, because somebody just called us up on a telephone or emailed Monty's blog. I mean, we weren't doing, I wouldn't have been doing Vatican or Academy Award stuff or NASA. That all came about from people that were interested in the Katrina. They had no way of getting their information out.
And ours was different than everywhere else that they could go.
Yeah.
Because actually ours was often much more accurate.
Which is very accurate. Okay, we have broken major news in this because we are faster, we are mobile. Another thing that we have learned because of all the things we do is that with the internet, you're using a howitzer where a fly swatter is needed. We have really good equipment, getting even better equipment. Our equipment is light and mobile, though, which means we can shift gears in a moment. We do
all the time.
I mean, we start to do one thing. We'll do yesterday. We went to do Old Cam, and we saw an Italian yacht with a British flag on it yesterday.
Sweet.
And we basically picked up from where we were at and went back to where we could get closer to the yacht.
That was sweet.
You can't do that with mobile stuff. Another example, we went to, was a mixed martial arts thing. People from one of the local stations got there. They got there, but the camera crew didn't because they decided the camera crew was more needed at a fire. And they're shooting with a bloggie because they're not geared to make a swift change.
Well, and part of it is then they also don't have their mic flag, nor as a TV station, is it appropriate, they think, to be filming with a bloggie, right, with a TV?
Basically what they're doing, they were, we'll tell them, we can't tell you which one, but they were basically using their bloggie over off of our mic flag.
Yeah, so we were doing the interviews, and they were filming it so they can cut and edit the responses.
Yeah, because then what happens is, when they get back to the station and actually have the thing, I was talking to the reporter, he said, he said, don't you guys have 35mm cameras to shoot video? And I said, well, I do, but the station can't afford them. And I said, tell him, well, where's your camera? And he said, well, it's out in my car. Oh.
Well, go get it.
Yeah. He's got a DLSR that shoots high-def video. And he's using his bloggie with us. And they went back out, and then they after we're inside, they're still outside trying to get the dregs. But his intern has got the camera, and then he did what he needed to do was to get in front of the thing to show that he was actually there. All he needed was a setup shot was him, standing there. He had a mic flag, didn't have a microphone, but he had a mic flag. So he's got the mic flag with him, you know, where you could just see the thing, you know, you could tilt it sideways, make it look like the microphone.
Like he had the microphone like this.
Yeah, but you can see the flag. And he said, you know, this is such and such and such. They were here at this, you know, and then he got the one piece that was most important for the whole thing. Because, which was the fact that he actually was there. Now, the interviews basically, they're good, but you got to have the guy doing, all of the people do setups in front of the things. Everybody will do it to show that they were there because that's the opening of the piece. But that's the difference. They don't send out TV crews, basically, one-man band is basically an example. They're trying to push the one-man band. Well, one guy has all the stuff with him that he needs. But we're talking a couple of suits that aren't used to doing things, and the film crew stands behind them. The suits should have been one-man band because he had a camera with him. He did have a camera. He just didn't think of it that way. And a lot of TV stations, the ones that are basically aren't making any money are going smaller. We know people that started out with cameras that weigh 40 pounds on their shoulders. Now they've got the 10-pounders like we have. And they're wanting to go smaller. We also do something else. We tell people too, which is what we've learned. It's not that they can't do 3D. It's that we will do 3D. We do 3D on a daily basis. We're up to 20 minutes a day, and we're getting ready our first little flick for the theaters called True 3D. And it's all because, I can tell it, because of Hurricane Katrina. Sometimes things do positive come out. 5 years and we're still standing when everybody else that were here 5 years ago before us are gone.
Yeah, we are.
Right. And, you know, she's basically gotten more used. She basically, I send her for the last year and a half, she's been going out all on her own at night and doing stuff. She doesn't need anyone because I'll tell you that if we do a red carpet, people down at the end of the line know that she's there because, oh, you're the one that's giggling. They have, you know, and they come by and have a good time where she's at. And that's what she's been able to do. She's went from being, you know, traditional to untraditional. We are not traditional.
Well, that's one of the things that we're not, because part of it is otherwise, as somebody had commented on the video, they had fun with it, and they had fun. Instead of being the same old boring things like, oh, tell us about
Well, I know. We've done things. We have done things where people are so comfortable, they have said things that they basically, when they get down into their system, we've had people say, you know, I really hate the way people are treating me on this show.
Yeah.
We've also heard other people say, you know, I have to be a slob because they want me to do it, and my wife and children hate it. We've had another guy that specializes in doing voices. I don't like, you know, I'm not obnoxious like they make me to be. And we've had other, you know, well, my mother, basically, she's a typical mother. She's not what you see on television. You know, she does stupid things like she took my child out and didn't bother to tell me they were going out for ice cream, and I went into a panic. You know, and that's, you know, mother's level-headed, very smart, very articulate. Mama does the same things as all other grandmas do. And we've had a guy at a Christmas event broke down and cried because she reminded him of something when he was younger, and he started crying on camera.
Well, part of it is we like to make our interviews fun, unique. We want to do a little bit of digging. We're not trying to get the like dirt.
No.
We're just trying to have it
we're
fun.
Talking to him. We can tell you flat out. We went to an event a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking, the guy in charge of the whole mess at our table, and he said, well, they told me I can't say anything with you people because it'll get me in trouble. So we're sitting there talking about families, and by sitting there talking about families, he basically telling us all the things that are naughty about what he's doing.
I know.
He was a nice guy, though.
Let's take a break.
Food comes first, last, and always. Okay, now we're back after the emergency, which, as everybody knows from the other piece, is really good stuff.
Well, as you know, right before, it's like I'm not even certain where we're at. A lot of times when they're doing shows, they always want to make sure the scene is exactly the same as it was before.